What's going on? This is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training Series. So this video is going to be about Java linked list. Okay, so Java linked list is used to store an ordered group of elements where duplicates are allowed as well. A linked list is based on a double linked list where elements of the list are typically accessed through add and remove method. Okay, so let me show you the syntax of creating a list here. So in my main method, I'm going to type linked list. Okay, so as you can see that when I type linked list, IntelliJ IDEA is smart enough to import that class for us. So we have imported java.util.linkedList class now. So now in the Angular brackets, you can type what kind of list you're creating. If it's int, you can type int. Okay, so it's integer. Okay, if it's a string, you can type string. Okay, let's make a string one, and then you need to add a name of the linked list. So I'll say my list is equal to new, which is a keyword to create a new linked list, and type linked list. Okay, so we have created an object my list, which is a linked list now. To add elements to a list now, it's very simple. All you have to do is just use my list dot add. When I type add, or I don't type add, just put a decimal point, you can see all these methods available for your list now. So I'll explain a few of them in this video, and the other ones you can check it out. It's not that hard. So add, which adds the element to the list. Okay, this is going to add the string, this is going to add index and string element as well. So remove, which basically removes the element. Add all, it's basically add all the elements. Okay, so let's look at the add element first. So I'm going to type, let's say int, because it's a string now. So as you can see on IntelliJ IDEA, it's giving me suggestion that I have to define string. Okay, so let's type I'll type a name John. Okay, oops, and then let's get out of here. My list dot add, and I would say, let's say my name Awais. Okay, and then just get out of here. Okay, my list dot. Okay, so let's print that out first. Okay, so to print that out, I can use the for loop. So for, I'm going to use string, let's say x is relevant name, and I'll type my list. Okay, and then here come down, add a code block. If it's only one statement, you don't have to add a code block, but I will still do it to not to get you guys confused. But okay, so as out, and let's type x. Okay, all right, so let's run the program now. So we have John and Awais, okay, in the list now. There are a few more methods I will show you here. So if you type a mylist dot, and let's say you want to add, okay, and then here I can type the indexing. So the list start from 0 index, right? So if I have 0 and 1, okay, so if I want to add this string on index 1, so I'll type 1 comma, and then I will say, let's say David. Okay, all right, so now let's have a look, where is the David get printed. Let's run the program now. It should be get printed in the middle, because so that's 0, that's index 1, that's index 2 now. It automatically sorted out for us. All right, so let's look at a few more methods available in linked list. So I'll try, just gonna get rid of this. Okay, let's say my list dot add first. Okay, so let's say I'll add that David by using add first method. All right, so we have David on the first now. Okay, so even if I add now, let's say my list, okay, and I would say add, okay, I'll type on index 0 comma, and I will say Aisha. Okay, and let's get out of here. All right, so now basically my list adds 0, which is the first indexing of list, but let's see what happens. Okay, so now we have Aisha, okay, at first, because when compiler comes down to this line, it prints out John, okay, and then it goes down Awais, okay, and then it goes down to add first David, okay, and then it goes down to 0 Aisha. So what it does basically, it sees that Aisha has to be on a 0 index, which is the first index in list. So it prints this out to the first, and then it goes to the David, because David, we said that add first after that indexing, because we're overriding that method. All right, so that's how it works, guys. It's pretty simple. All right, so that's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you have any question, let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers. That's what's going on. This is Awais back with another video of Java Central Training series. So this video is going to be about list iterators. So often you will want to cycle through the elements in a collection. For example, you might want to display each element. The easiest way to do this is to employ an iterator, which is an object that implements either the iterator or the list iterator interface. So the most common method for list iterator we have here is hasNext, which is a boolean. It returns true or false. Object next, we'll talk about all of these. So the next basically returns the element and throw no such element exception. So if there is not a next element, okay. And then we have hasPrevious. HasPrevious returns if there is a previous element, otherwise return false. We have object previous. What it does basically return the previous element, and no such element exception is thrown if there is not a previous element. So we have so many other methods as well, such as remove, set, removes the current element from the list, and then set does is basically assign object to the current element. This is the element last returned by the call to the either next, okay, next or previous. So I'm going to give you an example. All right, so let's create an array list first. So let's go to our main method, and here I'm going to, let's say, create an array list. Okay, so here we'll type array list, and now as you can see that the array list class has been imported automatically for me. But if it doesn't, I'm not sure about Eclipse or NetBeans that do it automatically, but in IntelliJ IDEA it gets imported automatically, which is really helpful. So here we have created array list, and I'm going to name it, let's say, my array list, okay, is equal to, I'm going to say new array list. Okay, we have created an array list. Now let's add some elements. So add elements to this array list. Okay, so to add the elements, you guys know I've done a video about array list. It's very simple. So use myArrayList.add. Okay, and then here I will type, let's say, A, or maybe let's say B. I'll do some random. Okay, so now I'm gonna copy and paste this several times. So copy and then paste, 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 oops, paste. Let me fix up the tabulation here. Now let's change some values here. So B, let's make it A, make it G, make it E, oops, E, and let's make it B. Okay, let's say Y. All right, so we have 5 values in our array list. Now I'm going to use an iterator to display the content of my array list. So let's write that in the comments so you guys know what's going on. So use iterator to display content of my array list. Okay, so how do we do that? First, let's print out on a console as out, and then let's say, oops. So let's say original content of my array list. All right. So now I'm going to use the iterator. Iterator is a keyword. So let's say type iterator. Okay. Now, as you can see that on the top, we added our iterator class as well. If you hold on Control, it will take you to that class. That's a pre-written class for you guys. All right. So let's close this. All right. So that's the interface basically. If you click here, click on it with the Control, so you can see that it's an interface. All right. So type iterator and then name of the iterator. So let's say I will say my ITR. Okay, which is okay. Let's fix the camel case. ITR is equal to, and then name of your list, which is array list. So I'll type my array list, okay, dot iterator while loop. So I'll type while, and I will call it my iterator. Oops. My iterator dot has next, okay, and then add a code block here. Let's come down. Then you can print out your iterator now. So my iterator dot next, okay. So let's run the program now. So it's telling me that original content of my array list is BAGEY, okay. So that's how you can cycle through to your elements of your list. So there are other methods as well, such as previous, has previous, next, and previous, okay. So you can apply those, they're not very hard. So that's it for this video, guys, and if you do like it, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers. What's going on? This is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training series. So this video is going to be about date and time. So Java provides the date class available in java.util package. This class encapsulates the current date and time. So we have two constructor, okay, date parentheses semicolon, date long millisecond in a parentheses and semicolon. So what it does basically, this constructor initializes the object with the current date and time. So date long millisecond is basically the constructor accepts an argument that equals the number of milliseconds that have elapsed since midnight January 1, 1970. Alright, so there's a lot of methods available in date class. So let me go to Java documentation. Okay, so this is a date class. I'm just showing you because if you want to find any information about this class, you can always come here and look at all the methods. If you might find a better method to make your program more efficient. And here, I think this is the best place to find information about Java, all the packages and all the classes available here. You can always come here and you might find some better classes to make your work faster or make your application more secure or more efficient. Alright, so these are the methods available: boolean, after, and before. So this test if the date is after the specified date, test if date is before the specified date, such as we have get date, get day, get hour methods, get time, all of these methods, which were basically, some of them, get hours was deprecated and replaced by calendar.get. okay, so let's go to IntelliJ IDEA now. Here I want to show you how to get the current date and time. It's very simple. All you have to do is use the date constructor, capital D. Alright, and then as you can see on the top, we got the date class imported for us. So IntelliJ IDEA is pretty smart and does these things for us. So date, name the object, which is date. Well, this is object name. You can name it whatever you want. So new is a keyword, and then date again. Alright, and then simple as out, and then print out that date object. Let's run the program and let's see if we can find our current date. So we have our current date here, right? So that's how you can print out your current date and time. But there's a lot of methods that you can use. But before we get into the methods, I will show you how to use a date, simple date formatter. Okay, so to format the date. So let's get rid of this code here, and now we have created a date object. So now we're going to use simple, okay, date formatter. On the top you can see that the class simple date format is being added for us as well. So let's create an object. So object name, I'll type ft is equal to new, and then type simple date formatter. And here is the main thing now. Okay, let me write the program first, and I'll show you what is this. Okay, so I'll type y.mm.dd, okay, and add single quotes at, and then I'm going to type HHMMSSAZZZ. Alright, so let's finish that with the semicolon at the end. So if you are confused about what are these things, alright, I'm going to click here on simple date format, and then let's go to View tab and then click on Quick Documentation. So this is the quick documentation for this class. Okay, so that's a class, and in the date and time patrons we have these letters for date and time components. Okay, so let's say I have used E first. Okay, E. Okay, so here let's see what E does. So E is the day name in a week. I have used Y, which is a year. Okay, MM, which is a month here. Day, DD is basically day in a month, day in a year. Okay, so these are all the letters available for this class as well. You can use that to format your date. Okay, so that was a quick documentation, and let's go and print out our object now. So I'm gonna go here and then let's S out, and I will type, let's say first let's current date. Okay, and then I will get out from the double quotation, add a concatenation, and I will type ft, which is my single date format object name, dot format. Okay, and here I will type date. Okay, that's a date object. Okay, so I'm formatting with the help of this class to this object. All right, so now let's run our program and let's see what results we get. So as you can see that we formatted our result of current date Saturday 2/16/9/10 at this time. Okay, so before I had I don't know if I could get that previous result, but that was different. So we know how to use a simple date format class to format our date. Now what's the next step? I'm going to show you the date formatting using printf as well. So let's get right into it. Get rid of this code. We shouldn't have deleted the date object, but I can type it so quick. All right, oops. All right, so now we have created a date object. Now let's create a string. Okay, so I'm going to type string. I'll name it dstr is equal to name it string. Okay, dot format. Okay, so we have added that string joiner. I don't need that basically, so I don't need this anymore because we're not using that. So date formatter, string dot date format. Now I can type, let's say, current date slash time. Okay, let's get out of the double quotation, and oops, I have to format because I'm gonna use the printf. So here I will type %sign and then TC. If you wanna find out about these formatting codes, I'll show you in a second. You can go to quick documentation and find them there. Okay, so now that's done, and now let's get out of the quotation because I'm using printf and date formatter. So I'll use comma instead of plus sign, which is a concatenation operator. But when you use printf, you need to use comma. So date and then a semicolon. Let's go and print it out. So dstr. Okay, let's run the program now, and we are going to get the result. So that's with the printf. Alright guys, so now we're gonna look at some methods of a date class. So let's go to Java documentation. So let me go up to the methods here. So here we have all the methods available in date class. So I can use the get date, get day, get hours, get minutes, get month. Alright, so let me show you how to use them. So let's say I'll create another date object. So I'll name it date is equal to new date, and let's use that. So as out, I'm going to use date dot get, let's say get day. Okay, and then run the program. Now it's a day 6 in a week. Okay, so let's change this to, we have here get month as well. So I'll type get month. Okay, so let's run the program again. So this is a 8th month. So we have all these methods you can use. So go through all these methods, play around with them. You will find them like really useful. You can get years. All right. So there's another method here I want to show you. TrueString. Okay, what it does basically, it converts the date to a string form. Okay, very simple. It's still a date, but it's a string form now. So let's go and if we have some more to look at. So you can read through what are these, so in this Java documentation. Okay, so that's it for date and time video, guys, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any question, let me know in the comments below. And thanks. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training series. So this video is going to be about exception. An exception is a problem that arises during the execution of the program. When an exception occurs, the normal flow of the program is disrupted and the program terminates abnormally, which is not recommended. Therefore, these exceptions are to be handled. An exception can occur for many different reasons. Maybe a user has entered invalid data. A file that needs to be opened cannot be found. A network connection has been lost in the middle of the communication. So some of these exceptions are caused by user error, others by programmers' errors, and others by physical resources that have failed in some manners. So we have three categories of exceptions in Java. You need to understand them to know how exception handling works in Java. So first we have checked exceptions, unchecked exceptions, and errors. Checked exceptions is an exception that occurs at the compile time. These are also called compile time exceptions, and these exceptions cannot simply be ignored at the time of compilation. And then we have unchecked exceptions. An unchecked exception is an exception that occurs at the time of execution. These are also called runtime exception. These include programming bugs such as logical errors or improper use of any API. Runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilation. And then we have errors. These are not exceptions at all, but problems that arise beyond the control of the user or the programmer. Errors are typically ignored in your code because you can rarely do anything about an error. I think it's time for a practical example now. So let's declare an int variable. I'm going to name x is equal to 100 divided by 0. So we all know that we cannot divide numeric value to 0. It's not in the mathematics. So let's say if I try to print out x and run the program, and now I'm gonna get an exception in a thread main java.lang arithmetic. So what kind of exception did we get? Arithmetic exception. Okay, so now if I, let's say, print out something else, let's say hello YouTube. Okay, well, the reason why exceptions are there in Java is because let's say you think that this might give you an exception error, okay, but you still want to run this code. So the Java compiler should not stop here and then keep compiling the program. Okay, so we can do that by try and catch method. So let's say now I add a keyword try, and here I will declare x is equal to 100 divided by 0. Okay, and then semicolon, and now I'm going to catch that exception now. So type the keyword catch, and here in the parentheses you need to type what kind of exception you want to ignore, what kind of exception you want to throw away, and still keep the program running. So we can copy that exception type from here, right click, copy that, and just paste that there. Okay, and then now I'm going to type the variable name what I'm going to apply on, enter, and add a code block. Alright, so if I get out from the code block here, and if I s out, and I'll say exception is thrown away. Okay, so and then let's print out another line here, and I will say this dash 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 dash. Okay, so now even we have that exception error here, but the compiler will still execute these lines. So let's run the program and let's see. As you guys can see, that exception is thrown away and it printed the last part of the code as well, which is these lines. Okay, all right, so we can do we can add multiple catch block here. Okay, so let's say if I have a couple of exception here, different kind of exception, so I can always add multiple catch block in try and catch. So let me try creating another situation here. So let's say I will create an array, so int, let's say name it, let's say y, and then add square brackets is equal to new, and then int square bracket here, I'll type 2 as my index, semicolon. We have the array now. So in the try now I will add s out, and I will say y and add a square brackets here. I will try printing out 5, and that doesn't actually exist. The maximum value we have in the array is 2, so we have 3 values. Index start from 0, so I'm trying to print out 5th index, but it wouldn't work. So now what happened if I run the program? I have another kind of exception here, array index out of bound exception, right? So it's telling me the line number A. So now I'm gonna add another exception here, and then here I'll add another catch. Here I'll type array out of bound exception, and here, because our variable is already in scope, the y, so that's why I'll just change the variable z. Okay, and here add a code block, and that's it. So now let's run the program now. As you can see, that exception and both exception has been thrown away. There's another thing I want to show you here. If I just get rid of this, all right, and then here you add this operator, and here I can say arithmetic exception. Okay, and now let's see what happens. If I run the program, it still works, because you can add multiple exceptions in one catch block as well with the help of this operator. Okay, so there is another thing I want to talk about in this video is the final block. So the final block follows a try block or a catch block. A final block of a code always executes irrespective of occurrence of an exception. So using a final block allows you to run any cleanup type statement that you want to execute, no matter what happens in a protected code. So a final block appears at the end of the catch block, and the syntax for that is basically, if I want to add a final block here, so I'll type finally, okay, and then here I will add, let's say, is this out, and then I will type, let's say, hello YouTube, please subscribe. Alright, so now let's say I will make this to comment. Okay, so now let's run the program. Let's see what happens. Now as you can see that hello YouTube, please subscribe is being printed out, but these 2 lines did not get executed because we have that exception. There's only one thing I want to mention with the finally code block is the only time it won't execute when you have exit the system before getting to the exception. So let's say if you type system.exit, exit the program here, so that's why it won't run this time. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Cheers. Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Awais. Welcome back to another video of Java Essential Training series. So this video is going to be about java.io package. Java.io package contains nearly every class you might ever need to perform input and output in Java. All these streams represent an input source and an output destination. The stream in the java.io package supports many data such as primitives, objects, localized characters, and so on. So in this video, we're going to learn how to create a file and how to write a file. Okay, so I have this main class and a main method here. So let's go and create a new class. Right click here, new Java class, and I'm going to name it create F. Alright, so we have this class now. Before we start working and using java.io package, we need to import some classes from there. So I'm going to click here and then import and I'll say java.io, and then I need a file class. Okay, and then another one, import java.io.printWriter class. Okay, so if you want to find out what are these classes files, if you click here, control click, and now it will tell you some information about it. What are these things? So I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to press Control Q in IntelliJ IDEA. So here the information about that class. So basically that uses the interface and operating system use dependent. All that information is here, so you can read through it, but I will explain to you while we create a project. So we have two classes now. Okay, so here let's go down to our class now. Here I'm going to declare a method, so public void, and let's say I will say my file. I'll maybe create file. Okay, one. Okay, and then add parentheses, and then add a code block here. So we have the method now. Now I'm going to use that file class. So to create an object from this class, type file and then your name of the object. So I'll name it my file is equal to new, and then file again, and then add double quotation. Here you need to type the name of the text file. Okay, so I will say my file 1.txt. Okay, so we have created an object with that file name, right? So now we're gonna check that if that file already exists on that folder, then what it should do. So let's create a condition statement here. So if, okay, I will use that sign, and then I will say my file dot exist. Exist is a method which checks if that exists or not. Then what it should do, then it should create a file. If that file doesn't exist, then it should create a file. So how to create a file? It's very simple. All you have to do is just use your object name dot create new file, and that's it. Now we get the error. That's an exception error. If you haven't watched my previous video about exception, I would highly recommend to go back in and watch that so you understand what these exceptions are. So here to fix that, I can just click on this and then add an exception method to this. Okay, so here that's the exception method. Now whatever the exception this file creation give me, it will throw that away. All right, so we have created our new file now, and I'm going to give the else condition here as well. So let's say else. So what it should do, if that doesn't happen, then I'll say file already exists. Okay, so let me explain that to you. So compiler comes here and sees an object with that file name. It comes down here and it says that if that file, this file doesn't exist, then what it should do, it should create a new file. And what if that file exists, it should print out that message that file already exists. Okay, so now let's go and run the program. I'm gonna go back to my main class, and here you will create an object for that class, and then new, I will say obj is equal to new create f, create f semicolon, and then here we'll use that obj dot, and then we'll see create file one method. Okay, again we have that exception error. Click here, add that exception to our program. Okay, so you could use the try and catch block as well, but I will explain that. I don't want to go through that. So all right, so now let's run the program. Now it didn't print out any message because that file name didn't exist. So if I run my program again, it should say that file already exists, because the last time we ran the program, it created a file. So let's say go back here, and then here I want to say if that condition comes true, then it should tell us that the file is being created. So the file has been created. Okay, so let's go back now and let's run the program again. It should say file already exists. So right click here and then go to show in Explorer, and then in this create file folders you should see that file my file 1. Okay, that was created. So we have created a file. We know how to create a file now. So now let's learn how to write something in that file. So let's go back to this class, and here I would say now I will use my print writer class again, and then I will create an object. So let's say print writer, and let's say we name the object write file. Okay, is equal to new print, and then here I will type the object name what I want to use. So my object name is my file. Okay, on the top you can see that. All right, so here we have created our print writer object now. Now to write that into the file, we will use write file object dot, and I will use, there are a bunch of ways you can write in the file. Okay, but for now we'll just look at println. Okay, so I will write, let's say, I will say this is my first file, and well, let's say hello YouTube, this is my first file. Okay, right, so now when you open the file, because you're opening the file with that method and with that object here, just remember that you have to close the file as well. So how to close the file? Because when you open any file in the computer, of course you close before you shut down the computer. So same in Java, before you run the program, you need to make sure that compiler should see this line. So I would say write file dot close. Okay, so what we'll do, it will close that file. Now let's go back to our main class and then just run it. All right, so the file already existed. Okay, so that's why it went to this statement. Okay, but I just want to, let's say, comment this out. So let's say comment this out, and all right, so now let's go back and then run the program again, and it should not display any message. But let's go to our file, show in Explorer, and let's go to this, and then my file.txt. So as you can see that the text has been written into the file. Hello YouTube, this is my first file. So that was a simple way to write a text to a file. Okay, for now I'm going to finish this tutorial here, but for the next video you guys make sure that to watch it complete, because I'm going to create a program which will basically check the file, and if that exists, it will ask us what do you want to write in the file. If that doesn't exist, then it will create a file and then ask us what to write in that file. So make sure to watch that, and for now, take care and thanks for watching again, and so don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training series. So in the last video, I've explained to you guys how to write and how to create files in Java. So we're gonna put those skills into practice in this video. So in this video, I'll be writing a program which will ask you to write the name of the file to create, and then it will ask you if you want to write something in the file. All right. So that's being said, let's get started. So in this main class and a main method, all right, so I'm going to create another class here. So right click here, new Java class, and I'm going to name it files. Okay, let's use the capital F. So we have this files class now, right? So in the file class, we need few methods first. So let's write public, and I'll void, and I will say ask file name. Okay, and then add code block here. So we have one method, ask file name, and then we need another method down here, public void, and I will say create file, and we have second method, and then I'm gonna create another method void, and then I will say write file, and we have three methods what we're going to use in this project. All right, so first of all, we're going to import few things. We need import java.io, and then we need files, right? And then import java.io and then Printwriter. Okay, so we have two files, two classes imported from io java.io package. Maybe we need another one here, so I'm going to import scanner because we're going to use scanner class to ask for the prompt to write the text or write the file name. So util scanner. All right, so we have imported all of our classes what we need here. So in this ask file name now, I'm going to declare a variable first. So let's declare a string variable here, and I'm going to name it ask name. Okay, and then down here I'm going to create an object for my scanner class. So scanner, okay, and then I will type let's say ask n is equal to new scanner, okay, and then here we'll type system.in. all right, so now before that, let me print out to the console as out, and I'll say enter the file name you want to create. Okay, all right, so we got our scanner object, we got that string variable there, and now we use that variable to, let's say, ask name, okay, is equal to, I'm going to say ask kn dot next and then parentheses. Okay, so we got this variable that I'm going to change the name ask, and that's fine. Yeah, okay, so so far we have one object, and then we're using that object here. Okay, so we got the input from the console. Now let's print it out. Okay, so I'll say that I am creating let's say add a concatenation here, and I will say ask name, okay, whatever you type in there. So add a concatenation again, add a double quotation space, and I'm creating this file. All right, so we got the output to the console as well. So now we're going to return some value, but before that I'm going to change that type to string. Okay, because I want to return the string from here. So return, and I will say ask name, okay, and then add concatenation, add a double quotation, and type .txt. Okay, so we don't have to write .txt when we're typing the name of the file from the console. So we have that file now. Now let's create a file. So to create a file, we're going to use file object. So we have imported the file class file, and let's say I'll name it new file is equal to new and then file. Okay, so here in the file I'm going to use the name of that file there. So here you type ask file name, because this method will return the file name what we just typed, and then this will get that file name. All right, so add a semicolon here. Let's come down here. Now I'm going to check whether that file name already exists in the directory or not. So let's use the condition statement, and then here you will say new file, okay, dot exist. Okay, if that exists, then what it should do, let's add a code block here. All right, so here we should do that, create a file now. So to create a file, use that new file object dot create new file. Okay, so there is an error here. That's just the exception error. So just click here, add this block of code here. What will do that, whatever the exception error you get, it will throw that away. Okay, so we created that new file now. Okay, and then I'm going to use else. So what it should do if that file exists. Okay, so else, add a code block here, and it should print out that the file already exists. Okay, so we have a file object here, new file, new, and then this is the file name what we get from this method, and then I'm going to choose if that file doesn't exist, then create a new file. Otherwise, print out this message to the console that the file already exists. So our create file method is complete. Now let's go to the write file method. So here I'm going to create another object. So let's create a scanner object here. We'll type scanner, and let's say I'll name it obj, or maybe scan is fine, is equal to new scanner. Okay, and then here you type system.in. Okay, now let's create another variable. So I'm going to create a string variable, okay, and I'm going to name it let's say write file is equal to, and here I'm going to ask file name. I'm going to use that method because that method is going to return the file name what we just typed, and this one will create it, and now I will use that same one. Okay, is equal to that. So now we're gonna create another object with the file class. So let's write file writer, okay, is equal to, let's say w, let's name it w file is equal to new, and then file writer, and then here I will use that string variable what I just file write file. Okay, so this is an exception error as well. We just gotta add that thing there as well. So okay, so we have created a file writer. The variable name is, object name is w file new this, and then I'm using as a parameter, I'm using this object. So basically what we're doing here, we're using this string variable which is equal to this as file name, which is returned by this method. Alright, so now I'm going to create a while loop here. So while, and make the condition true, add a code block here, and then we're going to declare another variable string, okay, and I'm gonna name it input, okay, is equal to, I'm going to use that scan dot next line, okay, and then here I'm going to add another code block. So let's say, so if I type done, it should exit the program, okay, dot equals to ignore case, and then here you will type input dot trim, and then add another code block outside. Let me just finish it, then I will explain that, and then add a break statement here. Okay, so now we have the while loop, condition is true, so declare another input variable which read from the console, okay, and this is a scanner object up there, and then we have that if statement. So I'm saying that if that word comes up, ignore the case, and then what it should do, it should break the condition, okay, and then let's get out from there, and then here I'm going to use that file writer object w file, okay, dot, I'm going to write, okay, and then I'm going to pass the parameter as input now. Alright, so now we're using that object, okay, dot write, this is a method which writes on the console, and then we, as a parameter, we're using that input variable what I've just shown. Alright, so we're pretty much done here, and then let's get out from there, and then we're gonna close scan dot close, and then we close that file object as well, so dot close. Okay, so we're pretty much done with our three methods here. Let's go back to our main.java now. Here we're gonna create another object from files, okay, and then I'm going to say obj is equal to new files, okay, at semicolon, and then use that, and then use that object dot, and then here you call that a write file method. Okay, another error with this exception, click here and add that throw IO exception code here. Alright, so now let's go and run the program and let's see how it works. Alright, so it's asking me enter the file name you want to create. So let's say I'll type ABC, and then say I'm creating ABC file, and now it should ask you want to write something. Well, I will just say hi YouTube I hope you like my Java tutorial series. And then I'm going to type done. Well, let's go and check out our file first. That did it actually create that file for us. So I'm going to right click here, and then let's go to show in Explorer, and then here go to your package folder, and here you can see that abc.txt file has been created for us. So double click, open it. Now I've got this message: hi YouTube, I hope like my Java tutorial series. So it actually worked. So we have created a program which actually asks us to write the name of the file and then ask us to write something in the file. Alright, so you can modify this program and make it a bit better. I was just making this program directly out of my head, so that's why it could be a lot better. But that was a quick tutorial about how you can write files, and you use your scanner class to put input for your file. So if you have any question, let me know in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter at owaesmirza01. Alright guys, so don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training Series. So in the last video, we discussed how to create file and how to write in the file. So this video is going to be about how to read from text files. So to start working in our video, I need to import some packages. So java.io, I need Bufferedreader, import java.io, I need file reader, and I will need another to get rid of that exception. So java.io exceptions. Alright, so we have three classes in our program now. In this video, I'll be showing you two ways to read files. So first way will be about Bufferedreader, and then we will use some methods to read files from the text files. Okay, so now let's go and start writing our code. So I'll use that Bufferedreader class, and I'll name it br is equal to null. Okay, and then in the next line I'll use that br, that's right here, fix up the tabulation, is equal to new Bufferedreader, create an instance of that Bufferedreader, and then click new and use the file reader, and then here type the path or type the file name. Okay, so that if the file name exists on the package, right, if it exists here, okay, in this folder, then it should be fine. Just type the file name. But let me just get rid of this file name. We'll create that. So I'll show you how to read files by giving the path as well. So let's go back to our, let's go back to the package here. All right, so here I will type, let's say, my file, okay, .txt. All right, so it has to be in a double quotation. So let me fix that. Okay, and then add a semicolon. So there's an error here because that's gonna exception that file not found. So let's create a file. So I'm gonna right click here, new, and then file, and here type my file.txt, and then here let's say I'll type hello YouTube. In this tutorial I will teach you guys how to read from text file. All right, okay, so now let's go back here. Let me save that file first. All right, so here now we need to define the path of the file now. So if you right click here and then click on file path, it should use that path here, right? So this is the path we have now. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, all right, and then I'm going to paste it here, and it's a bit long path. So all right, so now it should fix that error for us. Okay, as you can see that the file explorer we had was single backslash, all right, but Java will have a problem reading single backslash. So whenever you want to define a path in Java, you need to use a double backslash. Okay, all right, so that's what the IntelliJ IDEA did it for us. So if you want to do it like by manually. So you could do show in Explorer and then copy that file path, and then you could add backslashes. All right, so it's a bit long path, but don't worry, we'll fix that. All right, so next we create another string variable. So I'll type string and I will name it, let's say, line. Okay, maybe read line. Okay, oops. All right, so we have that string variable now. Here, now we need to use a while loop. Okay, so I'll use while, and then here I will add another parenthesis, and I will say read line is equal to, and I will use that br object now, which is reading a file for us, dot read line, which is a method which reads stuff for us. So I think it's a bit getting a bit confusing, so why not we change r line, okay, for make it easy for you guys. So all right, it should be fine now. So br read line, and then here I will get out from this while loop, and here I will say if there's nothing in the file, then what it should do, it should read the file to us. So I'll say r line. All right, so we have that loop here, which basically check r line is equal to br read line, which is this object, and then we're saying that if it's not null, then read line for us. Okay, so there's an exception error here, we'll fix that in a second. Okay, so now we need to close the file as well. Whenever you open a file, you should close the file as well. So it's very simple. You could use let's say br.close. okay, it should fix that. There's an error here, there should be an exception method. Okay, so we're gonna use the try and catch block to fix these errors. So let's go up here, I would say try, okay, and let's get rid of this here, and let's come down here after the while loop and add another code block here which will fix that while loop, and then here catch, next line actually. So catch, here we'll say IO exception E, okay, and then E dot. All right, it should throw away the stuff. Okay, so now we fixed our try and catch block, all errors are gone away. So now I think it's time for us to run the programs. And after the while loop, we can just simply close that. So if you type br.close, all right, it's working fine, guys. So hello YouTube, in this tutorial, I'll teach you how to read text from the file. This was a common way to read text from a file, but remember there's a lot of ways that you can read text from the file. There's another way you could use the scanner class to read file as well. In the course, I've been teaching you how to use scanner class to take input from the keyboard, but you can use the scanner class to read text from the file as well. All you have to do is use that file reader with that scanner class, same as we use the Bufferedreader. So there's so many ways, but that was a quick tutorial about how to read a file in Java. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, or you can follow me on Twitter and ask the question directly there. Thanks for watching again, guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers. Hey, what's up everybody, this is Awais back with another video of Java Essential Training Series. So today's topic is threads in Java. Java is a multi-threaded programming language, which means we can develop multi-threaded programs using Java. A multi-threaded program contains two or more parts that can run simultaneously, and each part can handle a different task at the same time, making optimal use of available resources, especially when your computer has multiple CPUs. Now let's look at the multitasking by definition. So multitasking is when multiple processes share common processing resources such as CPU. Multi-threaded extend the idea of multitasking into applications. where you can subdivide a specific operation within a single application into individual threads. Each of threads can run in parallel. The OS divide processing time not only among different applications but also among each thread within an application. Now, what are the advantages of threads in Java? It doesn't block the user thread because threads are independent and you can perform multiple operations at the same time. You can perform many operations together, so it saves time. Threads are independent, so it doesn't affect other thread if exception occurs in a single thread. Now, let's look at the multitasking again. We have two types of multitasking here: process-based multitasking and thread-based multitasking. Now, what is a process-based multitasking? Each process has its own memory address and each process allocates separate memory area. Process is very heavyweight and cost of communication between the process is very high. Now, thread-based multitasking. Threads share the same address space, thread is lightweight, and cost of communication between the threads is low. Now, there's a life cycle of a thread. So I've got this diagram here. Now let me explain to you that diagram. We have the new thread which has the keyword new. So a new thread begins its life cycle in the new state. It remains in this state until the program start thread. It also referred to as a born thread. Then we have runnable. After a newborn thread is started, the thread becomes a runnable. A thread in this state is considered to be executing its task. Then we have waiting. Sometimes a thread transitions to the waiting state while the thread waits for another thread to perform a task. A thread transitions back to the runnable state only when another thread signals the waiting thread to continue executing. And then we have a timed waiting. A runnable thread can enter the timed waiting state for a specific interval of time. A thread in this state transitions back to the runnable state when that time interval expires. Then we have terminated. A runnable thread enters the terminated state when it completes its task or otherwise terminates. Next. So how to create threads? You can create thread by extending thread class, and you can create threads by implementing a runnable interface. So let's look at the thread classes first. Thread class provide constructors and methods to create and perform operation on a thread. I will give you an example. First, let me give you an explanation of a runnable interface. So the runnable interface should be implemented by any class whose instance are intended to be executed by a thread. So runnable interface have only one method named run. Now let's look at the example. Example by extending thread class, okay? So we have a class called a multi which extend the thread class, and then we use a run method, and then we print out thread is running. And every program needs a main method as well. So we have a main method here, and then we have multi, and then ti is the object name. So I'm creating an object from multi class which extend thread, then use that method to start the process. So this is a simple example of extending thread class. Alright, now let's look at an example by runnable interface. Now here we have multi-tree class which implements a runnable class, and then we have a run method, the same as out for printing out thread is running. Public state void main, that's a main method, and then we're using a multi-tree class and creating a new object m1 is equal to new multi-tree object. Alright, so then we're creating another object t1 is equal to thread, and then we're using that method. So this is an example of a runnable interface. So this is it for this video, guys, and next video I'll give you some more examples how to create threads and where to use threads. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have any question, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and always you can follow me on Twitter at owaesmirza01. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Cheers.